and welcome to Celine Plays Eviction. This is a random game I found on itch.io, and I didn't know what to play, so I'm doing this one instead. Anyway, let's be clear right off the bat. You have already crossed the line by accepting this job, and there is no going back. You can pretend you didn't know that before. You can claim you are only trying to minimize the damage we do. Whatever you need to sleep easy at night, we both know that is a lie. What we do is not strictly legal, necessary, or humane. You will do things you will regret for the rest of your life, and I guarantee you that in a year from now, everything about you will be worse for this experience. But the pay isn't bad, and it's not like anyone else is hiring right now. So are you ready to get started? Yeah, sure. Yes, great. Then let's jump in. My name is Darren Bosch, and I will be your supervisor. You can call me Mr. Bosch if you like, but Darren is just fine. On the table to your left, you will find your standard field kit, flame retardant suit, air filtration mask, Motel 200, Spitfire with 2 spare canisters of napalm, and a sidearm for if things get hairy out there. Some things that aren't in the kit that I would recommend getting with your first paycheck are a fire-treated chopping axe for if your sidearm doesn't work, a basic burn treatment kit if your suit gets damaged, and some more comfy boots cause the standard ones pinch a little. Understood, Mr. Bosch. Okay, then get suited up and meet me in the van in 20 minutes. The company posted the eviction notice over 24 hours ago, so we are late enough as it is. Mr. Bosch leaves an armory to give you some privacy while you change. The suit is bulky and awkward to move in, and your breath echoes within the confines of the leathery mask. As promised, the boots pinch your toes and make movement painful and difficult. Your pistol's trigger was clearly not designed to be used with the suit's thick glove, and it takes a few seconds to push your finger through the guard. The Spitfire flamethrower, however, is lighter than you anticipated and is surprisingly easy to maneuver despite the suit's encumbrance. As you get ready to meet Mr. Bosch, you catch a glimpse of yourself on the surface of the steel table. The face that looks back at you is almost unrecognizable, the air filtration mask obscuring most everything but your eyes. What do you see in your eyes? Anticipation or dread? Ooh, I think dread is the right answer for this one. Dread, you make your way to the van where Mr. Bosch is waiting for you, smoking a cigarette in full gear. As you approach, he flicks the lit cigarette onto the ground and stamps on it with his boot, pulling the filtration mask over his face as he does so. Without a word, he hops into the cab of the van and waits expectantly for you to follow. Your stomach churns as cold sweat drifts across your shivering body. Maybe it's what is left of your conscience. Maybe you know some people in the neighborhood, but every part of you is screaming that this is wrong. As the van stops at an intersection, waiting for the light to turn, Mr. Bosch suddenly breaks the silence. Just as a heads up, the geeks upstairs are pretty good about keeping the eviction notice well hidden, so most folks won't know we are coming until it's too late. Don't ask me why they do it, cause I don't know. Maybe it's a power trip thing. Maybe they just like the barbecue. But just remember, your paycheck depends on clearing the place out of tenants and making sure the property is ready for new development. That means you don't stop until the job is done. And if you run out of napalm, there is more in the van, so don't be shy to use it. Yes, sir. Chin up, replies Mr. Bosch. Just think of them as tenants and not real people. And try not to get yourself killed. The paperwork is a hassle. The light turns and the van continues on its way. After a few more minutes, Mr. Bosch stops at the entrance of the condemned neighborhood. Rows of dilapidated buildings stand quietly in the early morning air, a lattice of loose wires hanging between the solid square structures. The scenery is marred only by the panicked rhythm of your breathing in the echoing mask. You hop out of the van and follow Mr. Bosch as he makes his unhurried way towards the nearest house, cradling the flamethrower in his arms. He stands there considering the one-story home for a moment, before unleashing a torrent of liquid flame onto the painted blue door. The cheap lumber catches alight almost instantly, spreading quickly as Mr. Boss moves the stream of fire slowly across the front of the house. A few moments later, the cries of the tenants inside can be heard as their lives go up in smoke. Mr. Boss turns to you, nodding towards the pale green house across the way. Well, this is a bad thing, considering Mr. Boss is killing people, according to the story in my imagination that's going on. So, numb yourself to the work. Your footsteps crunch in a dreadful way as you walk up the gravel driveway. You quell the feelings inside you as you approach a condemned home. Ignoring the small details, you try not to notice. The cracked and dirty window pane, the satellite dish set slightly off kilter, the mud-stained dog door on the front entrance. All of it goes up in a matter of seconds, the roar of the flames drowning out the agonized screams of the tenants. Soon the dark morning sky is alight and the streets are filled with panicked tenants. Some try to take what they can carry with them. Some just flee into the dark. Their scurrying doesn't concern you, however. Your mind is a million miles away from the carnage that surrounds you. At some point in your dissociation, you notice a figure approaching you fast. The glow of the flames reveals a girl, can't be older than her late teens, rushing at you. She is brandishing a metal baseball bat, her eyes wide and filled with tears and rage. Raise your Spitfire or go for the pistol. Ooh. Well, she's pissed. Either way, a fight's gonna occur. You go for your pistol as the teenager charges you, your gloved hands fumbling with the hand of your gun. Before you raise it to line up a shot, she reaches you as the bat connects with your left shoulder. You hear a loud crack and feel white, hot pain as your bone breaks under the force of the impact. The girl raises the bat again, grief and fury filling her eyes as you manage to slip your finger through the trigger guard and fire off 2 shots. They find their mark in the girl's belly, forcing her to drop the raised bat as she doubles over and crumbles in a heap. Be sick or walk away. Well, considering you just killed a teenage girl and she was on top of you, I would have passed out in that moment, but be sick, I guess. You manage to hold in your bile until you remove the mask. Without the filter, you finally inhale the putrid smell of smoke and burnt flesh. After a moment gagging and retching, you wipe the tears and vomit from your face and put your mask back on. Despite the filter, the awful stench lingers in your nostrils. Continue as the sun crests the horizon. You wander through the charred ruins back to the van, wincing from the pain in your left arm. Even as you get into the car, you can see the construction crews getting ready to build over the blackened foundations, trying their best to ignore the piles of smoking charcoal that once lived here. Within the month, the company would turn this graveyard into an upscale residential neighborhood and turn a tidy profit with a small portion going to you. Think about what you've done or suppress your feelings. Well, we're doing a bad thing here. You were responsible for what happened here. Others might blame the company who hired you, or the government that allows for this to happen, or even the consumers who drive the demand for this. But they are wrong. Your participation makes this all possible. Whether this is a source of great pride or deep shame is up to you. Just know that I blame you. Is that the end? There's no next. So, we exploded a town, but the person we played as gets paid nicely for it, which is kind of stupid, if you ask me. But this was Eviction. I didn't think blowing up the town would be counting as eviction, but, it happened. And I thought it would be more than just text, but that's okay. But anyways guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I guess I will see you all next time in whatever I make next. Goodbye for now.